Today, we're going to be unboxing, setting up, and reviewing a 60% wired and wireless keyboard from XVX. This thing is cosmetically gorgeous with custom keycaps and base, but moreover than that, it has an included 2.4 GHz dongle in the bottom, 4 rubberized feet, USB-C, 10 hours of continuous battery life, and some very silky smooth Gateron yellow switches that we're going to find out in this video I can't type with, but it's hot sticky fire for gaming. Let's get it. On the table today, we have the XVX MK61 60% wired and wireless keyboard. This retails for $80 on Amazon, does come in several colorways or themes, and multiple options of Gateron switches. You are going to have your keyboard in a moisture wicking bag, as well as an XVX branded mouse pad that does match the theme or paint job of your keyboard, which is pretty sweet. However, this is a little bit petite for my taste, as I prefer a full-size mouse pad, so I most likely will not be using this, but it is cool if they include one. And then in the front, you are going to have your USB-C cable. Now, this cable is rubberized, it is not microfiber or braided. However, it is relatively flexible and it does come with a cable tieback, one of the nice ones that stays attached, which I really like, and there's more XVX branding on the tieback as well. This is about a 4-footer, so if you are using this wired as opposed to the dongle, which is in the bottom of the keyboard, depending on your setup and how far your tower is away from your keyboard, you might need to get a USB extension. If you do need one, I will have it linked in the description below. Now, pulling this beauty out of its case, and I do say beauty because these keyboards, especially for the price point, are simply gorgeous. As you can see, this is fully custom. The base, the keycaps, as well as the bottom plate, which actually has a 3-dimensional stamped or emblazoned logo on the bottom, which I think is fantastic. You do also have rubberized feet. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of is they don't have flip-up feet. I personally like to cock my keyboards at a slight angle for a more comfortable and ergonomic typing position. However, I will caveat that by saying that the keyboard is already slightly slanted upwards, so that really isn't a huge deal because it's already in an ideal typing position for me. But let's just take a second to look at the cosmetics of this keyboard. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I will be overlaying some B-roll as well throughout the video. I absolutely love these keycaps. They are a perfect shape where they are rounded to where they fit your fingertips just perfectly. F and J have 3 very distinct dots or bumps, so you can feel like you're reading Braille when you're typing, or more realistically, you know exactly where your fingertips are when you're typing. Not to mention the font that they use on all of these keys looks fantastic, and I like the graphic on the spacebar and enter as well. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, you do have a 2.4 GHz dongle on the bottom here, which I think is really nice that it is included in the keyboard, so that way you don't have to worry about losing this thing whenever you decide to go wired with this, or you're simply not using this keyboard. You can just pop it right back in its holster and you don't have to worry about losing it, which is really nice. And getting it out is also very easy because they do have a little cutout to get your finger in there nice and easy like. Other than that, you have an on-off toggle on the bottom as well as a USB-C port on the top, and that is it. Now, you do also have an instruction pamphlet. I'm not a huge fan of these pamphlets that fold out like this. I prefer a little brochure. You can flip the pages, but this is just fine. No pictures or anything. However, it is very informative, and English is the primary language and very large font, so it is very easy to read, and it walks you through all the functions and features of this keyboard, for example, the RGB lighting modes. Yes, of course this thing has RGB because we know that adds frames per second to our PC. Well, it doesn't do that, but it does look pretty sweet. And if you don't want the RGB, you can simply turn it off or dim it if you have a very dark room and it's a little bit blinding or disorienting for you. I mean, it's not going to be blinding. It's not like you're throwing a flashbang and then breaching a room, but it might be a little bit distracting for you when you're trying to get your KD ratio above a 0.6 like your boy over here. Now, I will primarily be using this keyboard wirelessly with the 2.4 GHz dongle. This has an 1850 milliamp hour battery, which will get you at least 10 hours of continuous use, with a charge time of 6 to 8 hours, giving you a full charge. Now, these switches feel insane. I am going to do a typing test in this video so you can get a little bit of an idea about how much noise they make, which isn't a whole heck of a lot, but they are not tactile or clicky like most of the mechanical switches I have tested. They are completely linear with a good resistance, and the only noise you're hearing is when I bottom out on the bottom of the plastic base. The only other keyboard I've tried that had switches like this were the Opti mechanical switches inside of Razer's one-handed keyboard, but I feel like this does it just slightly better, or maybe it's because it's a larger keyboard, not a one-hander, it's a 60%er. It just feels really good. As for the stabilizer in the spacebar, as well as enter and shift, very even press, good resistance, good snapback or rebound. These switches feel good. And if you're wondering about the size, this is a 60%er, so you can hold down the function key in combination with any of the numbers up here, and that will be your F buttons or functions up top. And also, in accordance with the instruction manual, if you hold down the function button and a series of buttons on the keyboard, you will adjust things like your RGB backlight. The RGB just roared to life when I plugged her in. I love the way the RGB is implemented because you cannot actually see any exposed LEDs or anything, and the light just gently fades or bleeds through all the keycaps. You'll see that better during the B-roll that I'm overlaying, Kevin. at it right now. This also does come with an included keycap puller, so let's check out these switches right now. As you can see, this does have Gateron yellow switches, which do look like they're mounted and soldered properly. These are not hot swappable. And these switches feel absolutely fantastic, and they differ so greatly from most of the tactile clicky switches that I've used in the past. These are virtually silent, as you can hear. The only sound you're really getting is when you bottom out. But if you don't bottom out because you're light-handed or feather fingers, then this is really quiet. As you can see, there's a ton of control over the RGB modes, as you can adjust brightness, speed, color, and 19 effects or modes. We'll go through those now. So this is the spectrum cycling, but that's a little bit fast for my liking. I feel like I'm gonna have an epileptic seizure. Let's turn it down. There we go, nice and slow, just like me. Let's see about these modes, shall we? Oh, that's nice. Saucy. And with a lot of these modes, you can adjust the color as well. So even though there's 19 modes, there's also 9 colors for a lot of the modes. So technically there's dozens of lighting effects. And then we're back around to spectrum cycling. As you can see, I'm over at the PC with the XVX keyboard hooked up wirelessly. I've got a Word document pulled up, and we're gonna do a little typing test. Bam. Oh, a little bit of a learning curve here. Holy shit, I am trash with this keyboard. Oh geez. YouTube channel. Oh, I don't like that. Where my hand naturally wants to rest, my palm keeps hitting this button that pulls up this little pop-up here. It's like almost like what you would see when you right-click. Actually, it's exactly what you'd see when you right-click. I don't like that at all. To Gamer Heaven YouTube channel. Can't type. This is a keyboard that I am not used to using, so I am freakishly slow. So the keys do feel incredibly good. However, they are substantially different from my usual keyboard, so it will take some getting used to. I do like the placement of the keys, and I do like the way that they feel, but I have to really focus on what I'm typing. So as a point of reference, I generally type between 80 and 95. Jeez, why does it keep doing that? As a point, holy shit, dude. This is rough. This is the hardest part of the video. As a point of reference, holy mother of God, struggling here. 80 to 93 words. Oh boy. Typing test over. It types. Enough of that. So there's my final verdict of the XVX 60% wireless and wired keyboard. I have more pros to say about it than I do cons. I think it is a good keyboard. The fact that it retails for $80 US and comes with a slick set of keycaps, as well as a nice painted base and that dongle that's built into the bottom, is awesome. The RGB looks great. For gaming, it works fantastic. The only thing that I was having extreme difficulty with, as you could see, was the typing test. Now, granted, I went directly from a full-size mechanical keyboard with larger and more spaced out keycaps, completely different switches, Razer tactile green switches, to Gateron yellows on a 60% keyboard where the keys are much closer together. So I was having extreme difficulty typing. However, I will say after a couple of days of using strictly this keyboard, I'm sure I will pick up the pace. And it's not a bad typing keyboard. However, as somebody that generally types on a full-size keyboard, or maybe a 10 keyless, maybe a 75%er at the smallest, jumping to a 60%, these are great for gaming. That is the application that they're best for, because you do not need to have a full-size keyboard for productivity and typing emails, then also a second keyboard, a one-handed keyboard next to it that you only use for gaming. This does it all. It's proficient in typing, and it's great for gaming because you have all that mouse space. Your keyboard is not taking up any mouse space hardly at all, so you have all that room. Also, I do like the switches. They are a lot more sensitive than I initially thought, where you really don't need to press them very far at all. I would say about a third of the push is where it actually registers, so you do have a lot of dead space in the bottom. However, you can cut that down or completely eliminate it by putting in some rubber shims or O-rings over the keycaps, and that will do a couple of things. One, it will make the keyboard virtually silent because these Gateron yellow switches are already super quiet, but you won't have that plastic on plastic bottoming out because it'll have a rubber plunger in there that stops it. And also, you will get rid of that dead end slop, which will probably increase your typing speed and maybe even your response in gaming, because you know once you've registered that key and it bottoms out, you're done. You can stop pressing that key because these are very sensitive and they register about a third of the push down. So for me, a little bit too much dead end slop in these Gateron yellows, I most likely would put a couple of O-rings or shims in there. But I do love how silent they are. While I was typing and talking, you could barely hear the keyboard clicks. They're not even really clicks. They're just the plastic bottoming out over my voice. So that is fantastic for you streamers, or maybe you're a YouTuber and you do screen recordings of gameplay, or maybe you're just a PC gamer and you stay calmed up with your buddies in Discord. They're not going to be hearing a bunch of clicking in the background because this thing's virtually silent. Also, cool little feature, if it's at standby or idle for 60 seconds, it will turn off the RGB and go into a little standby or sleep mode to conserve that battery life. 10 hours of continuous use, however, probably several more hours of standby time. Overall, I love the cosmetics or appearance of this keyboard. I think it is a good typing keyboard once I get used to it. And the overall fit and finish feels very premium. There's no creaks or moans and groans. It doesn't feel like cheap parts bin plastic or anything like that. If you're interested in this keyboard, it's linked in the description below, and I'm gonna go learn how to type with this keyboard because that was embarrassing. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. Check out Into the AM for some of the sickest looking and most comfortable cloth to ever grace my gaming giblets. If you don't want to be scorching your corneas with harmful blue light, check out Gamer Advantage, the only blue light glasses on the market that look sexy and actually work. If you're looking for a custom controller that'll blow the competition's tits back, AIM definitively has the best bang for buck or price to performance when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch controllers. Nope, they don't do Switch, but they do gaming mice. I said doo-doo. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. If you need a quick laugh or blast of gamer adrenaline, check my short form videos out at TikTok. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.